looking good for Queasy and Thomas, right? There was just one problem. You look up and you're like, we got high right. You look up, oh, steady cami. Nice. Wow. With that being said, though, we are prepared for more action here from the FNCS Global Championship. Game 9 is here and ready. So, casters, take it away.
Yeah, you know, this is the dream for us as talent, watching this all play out and things starting to get close as we get to the final moments.
Look, everybody from a spectator point of view wants to see some close finishes, but Beerbot and Pollo, I kind of want to see them bounce back because we heard it from Peterbot on the call, just the most unlucky loot of his life. But let's see what Match 9 might have in store. Just like that, we are back. Technically, MDF approaching the halfway point on today. And with that in mind, this is where the pressure is really going to start to surmount onto so many of these players. Queasy and Thomas, they have made it to the top of the leaderboard, but now it's all about maintaining that position.
Yeah, the truth is that it's only going to get more and more difficult from here on out. You start to see the reality of the situation, and that's you actually have a chance now to take it all away. Every moment is going to come with that little bit of hesitation, right? That second opinion inside the back of your mind of whether or not it is the right move. But you have to continue to follow your instincts, follow your gut here. Worthy and Alex right now doing what they've done since yesterday, carrying in the momentum here. They've continued to win the drop. They're on 4 wins of the drop consecutively, and it seems like things changed after they started getting loot first.
And what's also really turned things around for them is, like you just said, they kind of led off day one with a couple of wins here at Restored Reels. Granted, one of those maybe a little bit more in favor for them to start with. Mustache Malabuka encountering some difficulties of their own along the way. But that being said, Malabuka, Mustache, the ball's in their court to try and bring this one back to life for them, because the reality of the situation is they have not been able to build any points for 2 matches already today.
Yeah, Malabuka, Mustache, clearly amazing players, right? And from the European region that we know and love. But let's jump in with Huddy and Kovacs, talking about EU juggernauts right now on the move up against Atlantic, Skrull, and Sky. Skrull and Sky rotated very early in match 8. Come match 9, though, they're looking to stick around and see this fight all the way through to the end, most likely. Kovacs and Huddy have a lot to lose here. They are in 5th place. Sky and Skrull have a lot to gain as they can fight their way up to the top 5 potentially with one good game, given the multiplier.
Sky and Skrull, they're definitely familiar with these early contest fights off spawn, but couldn't help but notice what looked to be either King or Phaser kind of lurking just a ways further north from Rebel's Roost in the distance. So some possibilities of a third party to take place. It all depends on just how noisy this exchange actually manages to get. And in fact, it is King lurking nearby, potentially hoping for a moment to just stroll through, clean up some easy eliminations, get those points online, because we've already seen King and Phaser make a deep run into the end game in match 7, and they're definitely hoping to try and replicate some of that.
Also looking to just scrap this building out for what they can here in case the fight does come down to the basement. Sky and Skrull doing the same as well. Luckily enough, they're on the back side of the building, so Phaser and King don't quite have lights and eyes on them just yet. But I'm assuming the attention's going to come in shortly. Give it a moment. Kovacs and Huddy catch a foot there. They know where one player is.
And look, we're familiar with these battles, these early exchanges, but everything that I've noticed so far here today, MDF, is that it's very evident so many of our competitors are just freestyling every single part of their strategy here today. No one is on the same loop paths, the same rotations that they were making all throughout the course of yesterday. And that has made it incredibly difficult for some of these teams that I think just got a little comfortable with what to expect, now having to completely switch things up on the fly.
Yeah, even this battle is going to hit the brakes for a moment, but here we get a little update with Clicks and Vino in the early game. What's happening here is that they're just trying to get situated for the first time in what feels like the entire tournament. Sandy Steps is in the zone. That's going to change the dynamic quite a bit, actually, given that they won't be sitting in the storm potentially fighting other players, and other teams won't be just rotating in expecting them to be there.
And again, Clicks and Veno definitely like to play for the vending machine that's nearby so they can expend that little bit of extra time inside of the storm, tanking those early storm ticks without having to necessarily worry about it because they'll have that ample amount of white heals. But Scroll, Sky, currently recognizing the fact that there's more than just one other team nearby. And Phaser and King, they've actually got the cutoff route. The moment that any of these other two duos, whether it's Kovacs and Huddy or Sky and Scroll, chooses to try and depart from Rebel's Roost, they're going to get held on the edge of zone depending on where Phaser and King box up. But not only that, Phaser King, they have to close out on that exchange because they spent so much time not getting early search tags.
Take a look what's happened here. Aviv already has an elimination, and Booga is right behind him right now. Remember, they land just a little further north, so sliding in, cleaning up house. Seems like Job and Michael were also here, part of this fight. Chicho and Trulex on the move right now, trying to get into the zone here. Being held out now by Booga and Aviv. They're going to Flowberry Fizz and get a move here shortly. Take a look at the highlight. Aviv comes in, finds Shadow, cleaning up what's left of Virgo. And then T1 Michael takes the punishing shot there before pumping the brakes and backing off.
Peterbot and Pollo definitely looking a little bit more set up this time around, but Peterbot going to find himself momentarily chopped, and Pollo, the only intention from this duo currently is to secure this forecast tower, and with nobody else in sight, Pollo and Peterbot have just unlocked knowledge for every future zone this game, but now they have to make sure that they can actually transition this into a solid late game run because they've been cut short 2 times here today already. And again, no one looking to make it easy for this team.
Talk about Michael and Job. We're making that rotate out. Seems like an equally as dangerous duo's got sights on him. Vico and Flixie now making a move here, pushing into the wall, grabs the first one, takes the second. He's fast, he's quick. The reaction is so good for Flixie. And now up from top, coming in to see if he can end this.
Hello?
Vico grabs that wall, cuts him off, the double-headed, the triple, doesn't find it. Backs off now. Great defense from Michael here as he finds 2 tags, so he is effectively putting up a very good defense, but I just have to, I was going to say, give all respects here, of course, to the EU duo and back up.
That just seemed like such a stubborn battle there for Job, though. I mean, he could have looked to try and throw up another wall, maybe try and buy himself a little bit more time. Potentially may have just run out of materials, and have to assume Michael down to wood build, so this duo definitely looking to be a little bit of shambles here, and Flixie and Vico know that they've got an extra 6 points waiting for them the moment they secure this elimination onto Michael. And finally, another 12 points will be secured, and not only that, but opening up the opportunity to continue trying to control other teams that are stuck just on the outside of the edge of zone, closer to where some of the new POIs are located.
That was third place.
We got the
tournament now. Much more of a difficult game for Chicho and Trulex here, who, again, clearly have a bit of a problem at the drop being held out. What a shot. It's almost as if every time we tune in, that Monarch pistol damage is incredible. Is finding its mark. So what's happening on the other side of the Sandy Steps, though? The zone landed here. We talked about that changing the dynamic of the game. And surely we're seeing it starts to come into play now. As Resigns and Dama have made it up the storm, so is Shari and Gyros, the same teams here. But then off in the distance, got Beaterbot with the eyes on the prize here.
Not only that, but Benno as well, keeping himself concealed just enough. Gets the chop out to Resigns' floor. Also gets a few tags in, but still not enough for Benno to want to key him just yet. Instead, he's going to regroup with Clicks and continue to hold down the station. But it's just a very difficult time to try and break away when you know that there's two other teams duking it out just above you on the hill.
Kovacs almost missed the train there, but he gets it just in time to join Huddy. They're pretty desperate if they're trying to secure loot from here. And that's the results, again, of sitting in the storm, being contested, being held a little too long for a moment there.
Huddy not even going to choose to stick around. They wanted the train. They nearly had it. But the fact is, MPF, they're going to have to leave this one empty-handed. And now, with only a handful of bandages in tow, Huddy and Kovacs could potentially be staring down the barrel of their own downfall. It was a risky play to try and make it for the train. I respect the call, though. The commitment, though, just impossible to find with so many eyes on.
Bunker play right now for Ping. No teammate, unfortunately, lost here just outside the underworld. So even for Huddy and Kovacs, there's no danger nearby. You never know who's sitting in the storm. Just really shows you that anything can happen. Meanwhile, Bryce and Bolts, this is one of the few times you've actually caught up with them kind of in the early / mid game here as things are starting to develop. This time it's up against Body Out and Reason. For floor tick here for Bolt. Bryce playing the other angles. Bad damage though coming in first.
Badil has just been on fire today. He is not willing to budge. The moment that he sees an opening, he is immediately shooting back and typically winning out on some of those exchanges. And now he's able to overtake the high ground because of the damage that he applied on the bolts just now. But Reason, the moment he starts to crank up, another team in the distance, a solo even, potentially threatening his position. Got a few shots in, but Bryce, Bolts, potentially not fully aware of the damage that Reason just absorbed. And they're going to choose to actually sit into the low ground and wait for a new opportunity to see if they can engage yet again with the Germans.
Reason and Badil playing a dangerous game here, though. A lot of these walls are not theirs. They are sitting in all this Bolts and Bryce territory. Now they have successfully infiltrated, if you will, this base here and taken over a good portion of it. Bryce is looking like he might be going for the edit out. If I've ever seen one, it's definitely getting set up. They recognize what's happening, and for that reason, jump back down.
Again, though, this is a lot of time being spent from both sides, and we've already seen a lot of teams here today struggling with some of these surge thresholds and maintaining damage that puts them in a position where they can just be comfortable on their rotates. And the longer these fights draw out, the easier it is for other duos to get ahead of you, to look back, take shots, prevent you from entering a solid position inside of the zone. And Baka and Pars, a little bit more so in control, surge base inside of the heart of Nitrodrome. They've got couple of white heals collected at the top of their base. Meanwhile, finally getting a little peek into what Cold and Acorn have been up to. Relatively quiet day so far, but we heard it first from Acorn. He's after that trophy.
Day 2 team still yet to show us it today. Couple of points slipping down here from Acorn and Cold. You know, these things do happen. The adjustments being made by the other opponents have surely affected their strategy. But they will have to continue to adjust here, continue to make up for it. Boogan and Vive seem to be on a faster track here today as well. Let's see what's going on here. So from one fight to a potential other, they're just getting situated. Seems like they found their home for now.
Slight gift as well. An extra bottle of Flowberry Fizz now to work with. Beeve and Booga just want to make sure that they establish as much of a foundation as possible. Got a decent position inside of the zone, so don't need to make any risky plays when you're sitting with as much surge damage as they were, 333 above. But Acorn Cold tapping back in. It's Sato. They managed to find him yet again, but it's actually going to be Damo on the other side of the walls. Lot of traction picking up here. Just outside of Sandy Steps and Acorn Cold. They're looking to collect. Cold still barreling down onto Cal Gamer, but just above. The backup has arrived, and Cold, he's going to have to disengage.
Yeah, Taman out of nowhere here, diving across, trying to get into this fight. Acorn and Cold almost had a set of eliminations waiting for them, but due to Clicks and Vino shooting in at the box when they initiated, everything went downhill for a moment there. And now they're just trying to find a tag as they're below the surge, so they're in honestly desperate situation here.
At the same time, Acorn tries to take the walls there, but instead it's going to be Cal and Amon doing what they can, but again, Cold getting a little bit too much foot traffic here. Cal still holding his position firm. He doesn't have his duo any longer, but Clicks, Venom, they got the shots that they needed to. They know that they can third party this, no problem. Cold, he's so weakened as is. Cal just below. Two separate solos that Venom and Clicks could look to collect on.
Yeah, they've definitely started to change their focus in purely onto Cold now as they send him running. Now looking to see if they can pick up the spoils of the loot from Acorn, but nothing just yet as they're kind of lost in this mix. And little do they know there is an Antilex and Sato here, right? So that team hasn't made any noise now, but look at that. They do secure the gear here. Very nice pickup for them. If nothing else, it was damage and new loot.
They basically just got to reap all the benefits of these exchanges that Acorn and Cold had initially established. And Cold, yet again, caught off guard, was trying to keep himself tucked away, but Cal gets the job done. At the very least, he'll have those two solid eliminations onto Acorn and Cold to work with, but he knows he's likely not safe for a whole lot longer here, because Veno and Clicks, they've got an idea. They heard those shots go off. They're waiting for Cal to surface from these builds. But at the same time, they also kind of want to get a move on because they don't want to get stuck in the storm for too much longer here.
Yeah, it seems like Vino's going to give the call out here. Let's just get out, play smart. Click's going to have to stop and heal for a second. They're going to huddle up together. Cal Gamer will live to see another day. Very, very close engagement there.
I always think it's so impressive how every single time we check in with Queasy and Thomas HD today, it just seems like they have so much surge, and for good reason, but somebody who wishes they had a little bit of backup at this point. Kovacs just lost his duo to King, and this exchange has been trailing them ever since the Rebels Roost. King and Phaser have refused to leave Kovacs and Huddy alone, but now Kovacs as a solo, he's got to deal with the likes of Reet and Ritual to his east, and not only that, but a collection of duos slightly west of his current position. A late rotate is going to be a necessity if he wants to power his way through here, but some of the shots that he's applying, he knows he needs to get that damage just above threshold, and still exposing his position. It's a risky engage.
Moving to Beeve on the other side. Find their way to the new zone. The half in, half out already revealed. They're below the surge, though. They will have to find a duo or land on someone shortly. And from their sights, there isn't anyone nearby. There it is. Finally, they see a fresh build. It's going to be Teeny, and it's a single box. So the confidence is surging here, but Booga damage first. No extra heals. This is all around disastrous, right, for Booga and Aviv right now. And it's only a matter of moments. They will have to do something shortly. Meanwhile, Huddy already out. Kovacs below the surge as well. Will fall here shortly if he can't find a tag now. But Reet finds it instead. And that's your fifth place team now. Consistency tossed down for once. And it's looking like a repeat performance of yesterday for Huddy and Kovacs.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to really be able to bulldoze your way as a solo through Reet and Ritual of all duos. Peterbot and Boyo, though, This is the furthest we've seen them make it all day today, so they're clearly trying to ramp up for a big performance here in the ninth lobby, but Clix and Benno, on the other hand, they've got Gears and Sherry in their sights. They've got a very efficient cutoff, but more importantly still, they need more damage. It's gonna take them some time, but finally Clix will connect. 77 above though. Damage threshold just continuing to threaten so many of our teams here today.
Yeah, if you were hoping to get lucky with Peterbot and Pollo, that already happened, right? Like 2 games, unprecedented. Doesn't happen often for them not to be in the end game. So this is everyone's chance now. The playing field has been even. Nicely done by Aviv here. Not only did he actually pick up and save Bugha, but he manages to find damage to keep them in the game and enough damage on the duo to have them to stop peeking so they can rotate, but it is not looking good for Aviva and Bugha. I don't know what more we can expect of them, but there are a lot of duos there. Toyota and Mapoli, the strongest Asian duo from day number 1. They finished in 10th, so they came in today with a lot to live up to, but have fallen a bit short now up against the likes of Aviv and Bugha here. What can Ping and Walks do?
If there's ever a time to prove himself, it's now for Aviv, but he has so little HP to work with. But he has plenty of targets surrounding him. Bugha, though, just too low for the count. Sato's gonna find him. Aviv trying to go massive now to Reed. A little bit of spoiler, getting some tags and cracking those shields. But the fact of the matter is, Aviv and Bugha, they squeeze their way into the top 10, but they still go down for it.
Yeah, meanwhile, Thomas HD, you see there, just racking up eliminations, damage, everything that you could be hoping for. And there's another one onto K Shoto outside of the zone here, trying to make their late rotates. Clix, it is not looking good for him at the moment as he's also in the storm right now. Vino is down. This is just a desperate spot to be in.
Clix, if anything, was just hoping to play for maybe another elimination at the end of the day, though. He's only got a little bit of sliver of HP to work with, but it's just enough. He might be able to clutch out at least 1 or 2 more placements if he can just stay hidden, fully concealed from the rest of the lobby. Only 3 builds though, MDF. I fear we're looking at the beginning of the end.
Yeah, it's definitely looking really close here. 8 HP for Clix, 3 mats to work with, late on the rotate here, barely above the surge. It's just so tough. But he's staying alive here, earning little bits of placement, right? All this does start to add up here. Finds Mapoli, very weak. Almost gets an elimination there. Someone else ends up stealing it, but still, he's in the game right now, holding on.
He's at least got that 33 damage above the threshold. But again, MDF, it's just the odds so fully stacked against him. Any of these next builds that he crosses over could be his last. Teams could just be waiting for a perfect opportunity to scoop up a free 6 points from the backside of the zone, though. Clix continuing to try and charge through, hoping that he can catch another player off guard, but he sees gone. He knows that there's a knocked body, but he won't be able to power through and push into these boxes with the armored walls going up instead of trying to remain concealed. But Boyo, Peterbot, they're gonna find him.
Of course, it's Boyo and Peterbot waiting to catch them in the web. Look at this though, Cammy and Seti. They talked about what they need to do in order to win this tournament here, and that is win more games. They got the last round, and then they didn't even sit down and celebrate. They know that they have to stay absolutely locked in here. But Queasy and Thomas HD are doing the same right now. Below the surge though, things can continue to develop here. Vico and Flixie now on the move. 3 Elans. Peterbot and Boyo very situated right now, but low on material.
Low on material, not only that, but Vico and Flixie hot on the heels as well. You have to consider they're making up a lot of lost ground just off the eliminations alone. And Peterbot and Boyo know it. They're just gonna try to play it out and control the low ground for the time being. But with that reveal medallion scanner having just gone out, It's a fresh opportunity for them to see if they close in on somebody else. Chicho, though, with a big tag onto CZB. That's going to be the knock. And Peterbot, instead, finding Badil in the bottom layers. That's going to be a beautiful refresh for him at Pollo.
This is starting to look like a four-way race unless Dukes and Vixen get a win. They're another top 10 team, of course, but Peterbot and Pollo are cooking right now. And also, they picked up material here. This low ground performance is one to take note of. On the other side, Thomas HD and Queasy are also playing the low ground here, but not so hot looking for them at the moment as they are running out of material. So very different start situations happening here.
They're at least healthy, though, and with that Gatekeeper shotgun primed, it only takes one good shot for Thomas HD to find the refresh necessary. They're going to continue to sink in from behind the rest of the foot traffic. They're playing from the backside of zone. Peterbot, Pollo, meanwhile, staying ahead of the pack.
Thomas
has lost Thomas. He's going to opt for the medkit opportunity instead, and with 0 builds remaining, it's all going to boil down to whether or not he can even make it into the zone and stay concealed enough for nobody else to pick him off.
There it is. He's going to break through the sidewall. This has all been edited. Baka's very weak. White HP. The armor wall comes through. Not worth, of course, pursuing at this moment. He has to focus in on staying in the front side here. No build to work with. Enemy around the backside. Can he get one? More points for him. This is huge for Queasy now. Earning points, earning eliminations. He has to stay ahead of Peterbot, who is on the low ground with a down teammate. Peterbot, so much more to work with. However, it's still so close for everyone else. Another med kit is going to start coming out for Queasy.
He's just doing everything he can to survive. Peterbot, though, going to pick off Teeny in the process. Queasy finds another into Rapid. Not going to get a chance, though, to collect the body loot. Instead, he's scrambling, trying to remain out of sight here. Tulex and Chicho right behind him, but Peterbot grabs him in the end.
That's exactly what he needed as well. Peterbot trying to take back these points here. Finishing off Trulex now inside of a top 5 situation up on height. It's Dukes, though, with Peterbot looking to fight back. Do not count him out. It is all solos remaining here. Teacher goes down. The next one is down too. Batman Booga sent back to the lobby. 3 players now here. Peterbot looking at 1v1v1. And another one. Down goes Bars. Can he find the final fight here? Dukes is excellent in these type of scenarios, but Peterbot is just a little better. Up top, the high ground hit is good, and he needs to go. And he does it again.
Peterbot, there is a reason why everyone is regarding him as the best in the world, and with a performance like that, he might just be.
Put him in the box, wrap him up, and send them back to the lobby is the motto here. Well played.
Would you please, forward, put your hands together for Peterbot and Pollo! Oh my, Peterbot, that is how, it was ice cold. That is how you do it. Walk us through the last part of the game there. We just saw you sweep up. You were like unstoppable.
Yeah, I don't know. I just eliminated everyone. I mean, everyone was a solo player on me. Gold Gatekeeper with Drum Mag. I was just eliminating everyone. It was pretty easy.
I mean, you're right there with the guy. The crowd are behind you too. Pollo, unbelievable work from your duo partner here. When you see that in the end game, how are you reacting? How are you feeling in that moment?
I saw it was 5 solos, and I just had a feeling he was going to win the game, too. I just had a feeling.
You just had the instinct. You just knew it was going to happen. Peterbot as well, obviously, the first 2 games, they didn't go according to plan, but that is the way to go into the break on this final Sunday. How do you guys feel like the first 2 games? Things are really looking good now going into this break. What do you do to regroup during this halftime break?
Yeah, we're going to talk to our coach and go over the first 2 games and see what went wrong, and yeah, we'll go from there.
And anything you want to say to Queasy and Thomas HD for the first couple of matches as well? I mean, obviously the crowd here are very excited too. He's checking his stats on screen. He's looking at the leaderboard, and we have ourselves hey, this is flip-flopping all the way here, but there's a difference in points now. You guys are back on top.
Thank God. God did.
Okay. And Pollo, going into this last part now, you two, how are you feeling? Are you confident that is definitely within your grasp? 3 games left to go.
Yeah, I think we can win. Just replicate what we did last game and the other games we won yesterday as well.
Okay, well, let's see exactly how it's going to unfold. One more time, Fort Worth. Give it up for Peterbot and Pollo! This is one serious Global Championships final. 3 games left to play today. We can't wait to see what happens next. Zeke, what do you guys think? This is blowing my mind.
My hands are up. My hands are up. I don't know what's happening anymore. I cannot even believe this. First off, how did this game end as a solos? This is a duos competition. Solos running around, and just the fact that Peterbot pulls off one of the most insane solo clutches, right? I mean, Pollo goes down in 11.
Yeah, and then Peterbot, one by one, systematically takes out the rest of the lobby. And you can see it in his load up right there. And he called it out, the gatekeeper, with that drum mag. So no longer does he just have 3 shots. Oh, is there 5 solos? Oh, perfect. That's exactly what I have in my gatekeeper. I am going to take down everyone, and it was such a good run from them on the low ground. Even though they did have a little bit of a rough start with these first 2 games of the day, they did not let that knock them down, and now they're knocking everyone else out.
I mean, this is what you need to do to win a global championships. You need massive solo clutches like this. I mean, these final moments right here, every single elimination, every single refresh he was able to get was just compounding. Look at all these builds that he was able to get. Double elimination right there was absolutely crazy. And I noticed when I looked at the Duke's POV, Duke's had no materials, so Peterbot had the advantage. This elimination on low ground was crazy as well. Peterbot had so many more materials than him, so he took height perfectly. And I thought for a moment there was a moment last Globals where Duke's had an insane solo clutch from the low ground. I thought, are we going to see a similar sort of thing again? But then, of course, it's Peterbot. He was only going to win that.
You know, they like to say that sometimes people like to put people into a false sense of security. Oh, Peterbot and Pollo, day 2, they're washed. Everyone else, this is when they put them into that sense.
For just a moment, Thomas HD Queasy had it. And for a moment, it was like, okay, the rain's over. Could this be the moment? And then Peterbot and Pollo answered that question. No! Nice try, fools. I cannot believe what we just witnessed. And 10 eliminations. Remember, the victory is worth 100 points by itself.
Yes.
You slap 60 points on top of that. Here we are. Here we are.
56 eliminations. Look at that column 1 in from the right. 56, and nobody else comes even close to that. The second place team, Thomas and Queasy, 29 eliminations. I mean, we saw them do it online. We saw them W King. We saw them being such a menace to the lobby. I think a lot of people, myself included, were like, are they really going to be able to do that on this global stage in front of the best teams in the world, in front of this amazing audience in person? Yes, is the answer. Yeah. They can do it. They can still do it. And, I mean, that's a great response after the first 2 games. Wasn't the best for them, but that's a response of winners right there.
However,
there
are still 3 more games to go. We have already seen the leaderboard in first place change between 2 teams, and we do see that there are other duos on that leaderboard that are within reach. And we now know that Peterbot and Pollo are not invulnerable. We did see them go down in games 7 and 8. There was a possibility that happens again. However, I love what they're saying. They're going to go back to their coach. They're going to go review specifically what went wrong in those games, and hopefully they never replicate it again.
That's right. And you saw them there on screen. They're right at it, right? They are really quickly trying to identify those issues. On the flip side, Thomas HD and Queasy, right? How they must be feeling. For a moment, it was ours, and now the rug pulled out from underneath them. We have a listen-in from this last game. Take a look.
Stop, stay down there! On me, I'm probably dead. On me. I'm dead. I'm dying right here, and this is flashes. Nice. Just hella solo, bro. Nice, bro. You have 5 metal walls. Body. Also, bro, all solos. 5 solos. Nice. Get 2 bodies there. 2 more solos. You need to reload. One's on height. I think you go up. Nice, bro. Step 20 foot, but you can fizz. Nice. The best player in the world, baby! Oh my god. Come on! Let's go! You're actually crazy. Holy, bro, let's go!
Yeah, so remember for like a moment, like a lot of yesterday, we had that like super cocky Peter Bot, and then like for the first 2 games he was there. He's back, he never left again. He was just like, it was like the dangling the carrot, like, yeah, everything's cool, everything's fine. These guys are beatable. Just kidding. That's not the case.
I do want to mention, though, yes, Peterbot and Pollo did absolutely well there, but Queasy, a solo on the low ground with no mats, able to get back-to-back eliminations as well, just making sure that they are still collecting those points because they don't want to see the 150-point deficit that they saw from yesterday.
Yeah, they really don't. Really well-played game from these guys. I mean, it's unfortunate that Peterbot and Pollo had such a good game from their perspective because this was another solid performance from them. You saw how Thomas HD went down right there. Really unfortunate situation. Queasy was actually able to pick up Thomas HD's materials once he was finally eliminated in the storm, so that just kept him going and allowed him to make this solo clutch. Some really, really nice eliminations. This one in particular, unfortunate that he couldn't get those builds because I think if he could have got those builds, he would have had a little bit of a better placement in the end, but solo clutching 6 is so good, and particularly for Queasy, who I feel like people don't often give him the credit as a really great mechanical player. It's all about Thomas HD. He's the fragger. He's the best player in this duo, but no, Queasy has what it takes as well. He's proved it previously. He's proved it today. He is one that can perform as a solo.
And think just off that performance, right? That was enough to kind of, because Peterbot could have run off, right? Yeah. And that was enough to just hold them on and just say, like, look, you're going to pull ahead, but I'm going to make sure that lead is not as big as it could have been. Props to Queasy after that. My goodness. Also, as well, just a couple highlights from the last game, Dukes and Sphinx. Dukes making into that second place. They burned so much for that high ground, though. Still, second place, placement and eliminations, that's huge.
Yeah, and Dukes and Sphinx had a pretty good day 1 as well, so to keep that rolling into day number 2, to control high ground there as well was very smart. Cammy and Seti for a moment there had high ground, but then they saw that they had low mats. That's when Dukes and Sphinx went up, and Cammy and Seti very smartly dropping down, not even trying to fight for it, because when you have no mats, what's the point there? Dukes and Sphinx capitalizing on that awareness, did a great job in that game.
Yeah, they did. And as you mentioned, Zeke, it's always tough to sort of keep those materials going when you're a high ground team like that. We saw at the end, Dukes didn't quite have the materials to try and win that final 1v1. I expect to see this team making more end games, though. It's nice to see them getting that second place, as you mentioned, a really solid day for them yesterday. So building on that, not crumbling under the pressure of having that good performance in day 1. I'm excited to see what they can do.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, Fortnite fam, we are now at the halfway point of the competition. So when we return from this next break, we'll have more for you here from the FNCS.
Fortnite's fun. We all know that. But how do we make it even funner? How about by playing it on one of the biggest screens in the world? Today we're going big. Big shout out to NASCAR for bringing us out here to the Texas Motor Speedway, just outside of Fort Worth, where we've invited some Fortnite players to play on the NASCAR Daytona Rocket Racing map. It's gonna be a great time.
I think the biggest monitor I played on is like 30 inches maybe, so that's a huge upgrade for sure.
Just to show y'all how big that monitor actually is, here, zoom in, see if you can see Benno. I think you need probably 1 million Bennos to make that whole entire monitor. Yeah, he's waving right there.
It would be sick to do a tournament here. 100%. A tournament on the screen, bro? That'd be fun. I'd love to do that.
Come on in.
Big lev on.
Have you ever played on a screen this big?
No.
Not this big.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Damn.
Oh, okay.
He's taking a step.
He's
confident.
Take away.
I don't think you're gonna win though.
We're gonna jump in. We're gonna see who can get the fastest times today. We're gonna do some time trials, right? And it's live. Let's go.
You already
This guy's already
turned, man.
You're 6 laps?
He's played this before. I feel like he's
What's the
played.
timer?
Maybe he's not played it before. The middle mouse button to activate your boost. Go on.
So you sit in this
Breathe.
20 seconds. Get a dog. That's a route.
Are you next? 11. Is it 11? 11's gonna get the worst score, bro.
Really?
Don't get nervous, Clicks.
And it's live. Let's go. 320 to beat. No pressure at all. But if you don't beat the score, it will be pretty embarrassing for you.
Can you see where the kilometers is? Like with the numbers?
Yeah, I see.
Oh my God. We bugged them now.
No. What I say? You had to be 2 seconds. You had to be 2 seconds.
You've lost a lot of seconds there, bro.
Let's see.
Clicks is rocking in with a
3:11. That's why I said. That's why I said. That's why I said it was much.
That's not great.
By 9 seconds.
So Cooper's stepping up next. Bit of a slow start there, lad.
Yeah.
Wait, how am I slow though?
I think you'll hit sub 3 minutes at the moment, yeah.
You got low-key a good. You got like
strong finish.
253. Oh no.
That's a good time. That's a good time. That's a good time. Canada, start your engine, lads. Let's go. Strong start.
That isn't Cooper.
Canada.
Yeah, wrap this up.
No,
There's a bug on me. No, I'm getting green. It's on me. It's on me. No, this bug's on me. I'm getting green, bro.
Oh, what's it gonna be?
Damn, no.
What's it gonna be?
Ooh,
3 minutes on the
7
clock.
8 seconds
short,
out.
Hey,
At least I
3
beat.
minutes.
Do you think he beats the timer?
I beat these two.
Who the worst is?
Who's the worst?
Oh yeah, your turn. Let us step up, bro.
yeah,
Now,
Crazy.
now it's time for the tutorial.
No, this is over. Oh, no.
Tutorial.
Oh, no, man.
He's drifted.
Lord.
Hecky with it.
This is a guarantee.
I got it. I hit it.
Oh, no.
Come on, give me a good time, please. Under 250. Under 250.
3. Oh, my God. You got slower than me. You got slower than me.
Commiserations. Nice try.
Nice try,
Next time.
Nice try, bro. You guys got next.
Let's go.
To the
winners.
To the winners. Well done. Second place.
Yes, sir. I
First
appreciate
place. Third place right here as well. And that was some rocket racing on the big horse. 280 feet wide, 97 feet tall. The biggest screen you guys will probably ever play on. What'd you make of that?
That was crazy.
Some fun?
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Especially playing the racing game.
Yeah.
That hit.
It was good. Hey, shout out to Rocket Racing. We're going to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Up here at the Creator Lounge, the influencers are plentiful, and let me tell you something, so were the vibes after that game. I mean, Peterbot and Pollo putting themselves back into the conversation, but now we're at the halfway point, and I just had to revisit a conversation from yesterday with two of our good friends, Blake and Somerset. Hey guys, how are we feeling after the 3 games from today?
I'm feeling good, man. Like, we got a tournament on our hands. Peterbot got a bad first 2 games. Thomas HT Queasy popped off. We thought maybe Peterbot was gonna choke a little bit, but then he comes out with a crazy solo clutch. It was all solos at the end, a crazy game.
All I'm gonna say is Blake has been in support from Peterbot since the beginning. I may or may not have, but now I'm definitely turning my cheek onto them because they have been going absolutely crazy the last 2 days.
Awesome stuff. There's been a lot of surprises in the competition so far today. And Blake, heck it, why don't we throw a surprise your way as well? Why don't you go ahead and turn your head that way real quick? Everybody, it is Blake's birthday! On 3, I need one giant happy birthday for Blake himself. 1, 2, 3, happy birthday! Go ahead, Blake. Go ahead and make a wish right there. There it is. How you feeling?
I just wish to qualify for Global Championship next year.
That's how you know he's a competitor. Somerset, you are always by Blake's side. Any words of affirmation for him?
Happy birthday. You're getting old. Everyone's making these accusations that you're washed now. So next year for Global, you got to prove them wrong. Let's go.
There we go. Listen, we have some cake to celebrate with up here. There's going to be a celebration at the end of the day, and Queasy and Thomas are hoping to be a part of that.
Yeah, they really are. Can you make sure that you save us all 3 here some birthday cake? I would be devastated if you didn't, all right? I'm joined by Queasy and Thomas HD here. We have got ourselves a serious championship Sunday. Queasy, the first 3 games, I mean, we had ourselves a lot of points scored early on, and Peter Botpoyo going down gave you guys a real advantage to get up that leaderboard, and you were the top spot for a while. Walk us through those first kind of couple of games and how that went really well for you guys, ensuring that you are definitely in contention for that trophy.
I mean, we're just trying to be consistent, but it's hard to compete with Thanos himself, you know? So we'll see.
Thanos himself. I mean, Thomas as well. I mean, you obviously in that third game watching Queasy there, who managed to clutch up and just carry on going. You need those kind of plays in finals like this, don't you?
Yeah, I was like really hyped that he clutched up a few elims and he clutched from top 12 to top 6, I think, or something. Yeah, I'm proud of him.
Well, I mean, there's only like, 40 or 50 points between you guys and top spot right now, which is absolutely doable with the 1.5 multiplier. The last 3 games, does anything change for you guys? Is there any kind of strat coming into this you think this is how we go for it? Or is the consistency and the complacency of where you are right now going to get you through and up to that main stage to lift that trophy?
I mean, I don't think we can change much. Don't really have time to make adjustments, but we just keep doing what we're doing and we hope it's enough.
I want to hear about one for a second here, you guys as a partnership. What is it like playing alongside Thomas HD? I guess a lot of people at home right now wishing they could be next to you guys, competing with you. What's this guy like playing next to?
It's amazing and it's pretty easy to play, you know? That's about it.
Same question for you. I mean, this guy, he's done it all as well. Queasy is the man. Same thing. What is it like this season playing next to Queasy?
I mean, it's great playing with Queasy. Like, I don't think there's anyone else that I want to play like a LAN like this with than Queasy. I think he's like the best IGL by far.
Okay, we're going to see exactly what happens. Will they manage to go all the way and lift that trophy on behalf of the EU? I hope so. Let's head our way back over to the rest of the gang and see what they have to say.
On behalf of NA, I also hope so. That's just my opinion. Welcome back here from the FNCS. We just are sitting here at the halfway point. Man, that last game was so crazy once again. Obviously, we would love to see Thomas HD and Queasy win, but also that story, Peter Bob and Pollo, the back and forth. It's a really great story.
It really is a great storyline, and I hope that we get to see both of these players make it to the end game for the next 3 games as well. However, like I said before, there is still an opportunity for other teams below them to climb up the leaderboard, and to not forget that this isn't just a fight for first place. Everyone is still trying to climb up this leaderboard, make sure that they get into those placements where the 6-digit figures are.
Yeah, I mean, you heard it there from them directly in the interview. We don't really have time to change things right now. They've had a very, very good day overall. Of course, they came out on top in game number 1. 2 very solid games here as well, going into the halfway point. It's just the fact that Peter Bottom had such an incredible game number 3 that they really are just taking everyone by storm right now. Still within reach, though, as you mentioned earlier, Ronzi.
Yeah, and just look at this leaderboard here, right? Like, first place, right, 608, 569. So we got first and second kind of fighting it out. Third and fourth, right, in that 400, almost 500 range, they're fighting out. Fifth, all the way down to 9th. And you can even argue Bolt and Bryce are even trying to fight up into that competition. Guys, this is still anyone's game. We only have 3 games left to go. During this halftime, what do you guys think is kind of going through the players' minds? What are the things they're looking to change? Because the moment you fall, if you start this game and you fall outside of placements or eliminations, now you're only going to have 2 games left, and then vice versa, 1 game left. There's only so many opportunities left, Kelly.
You know, it's interesting because we've now had 2 interviews of Peter Bon and Pollo and now Queasy and Thomas HD, and there's a bit of a juxtaposition for what they're doing during this halftime show. Where Peter Bon and Pollo, they're going back to the review, they're talking to their coaches. Whereas Queasy and Thomas HD, it seems more that they are kind of calming themselves. They don't want to look too into it. They don't want to kind of freak themselves out because maybe if they doubt themselves now, it's only going to get worse from them. So I think it really depends on the player, on the duo, how they're going to be able to kind of handle this situation going into the final 3 games.
Yeah, and I think a big part of that is their situation of spawn as well. Of course, Peter Bon and Pollo, they have the best medallion in the game. They have the best assault rifle in the game as well. Their plan right now, their main concern is getting landed on. What could happen in these final 3 games? Could there be a team in maybe 50th place, down there, 40th place, that could think, you know what, we've got 3 games to make something happen, 1.5x points, why don't we just go for the best loot, see what we can make of it? If Peter Bon and Pollo can do it, why can't we? I don't think Queasy and Thomas have that same concern. Yes, they're not in first place, but their drop spot isn't necessarily the most overpowered drop spot. It hasn't got those medallions, it hasn't got those mythics. So I think that's where the difference in their strategy and their approach to this halftime break has been, because I think Peter Bon and Pollo are in that danger zone right now. Anything can happen.
I mean, we heard at the start of the day, I believe it was Acorn and Cole, that they said, listen, if we're up there in second place and it's Peter Bon Pollo, we're going to be landing on them. I don't know if they're going to be doing that now, but still that does showcase that mentality is in the mind of all these competitors, that they are willing to do something crazy to change things up. And of course, that brings us back to the reminiscent days of Invitational 2022, where it was Queasy and Veno dropping onto Cammy and Seti and making one of the best plays that we have ever seen in the FNCS ever.
Just imagine for a moment. Let me just paint you a mental picture. And I'm not saying it's come true, but I did write it in the script. Peter Bon Pollo, suddenly Thomas HDE, Queasy, they're both contesting each other. They decided we're going to fight it out right here. And then all the rest of the lobby is just like, we're also going to be part of this. We're just going to eliminate both of you. And just kidding. I hope that doesn't happen. But that's a very interesting point. In that moment, in Invitational, we would have never, and I don't think anyone would have ever imagined that was what the play that would have been made. And so here with 3 games left, you got to start thinking as a duo, like, bro, we can make one of those plays. It's high risk, high reward. But at the end of the day, like, it could win us a global championship. It could send us into the top 10 and receive life-changing amount of money. I mean, there's so much on the line here.
I think that was a very specific situation, though, in the Invitational, where Cammy and Seti and Queasy and Vino were so far ahead of the competition that even if Queasy and Vino did go down in second place, they would have been there regardless, because they knew that Cammy and Seti were so much stronger in the end game there. So I think that as far as other players landing on the raft, because there was at 1.4 teams, why not 40 teams? I think that is a very specific situation, because a lot of these teams are still trying to climb up that leaderboard and not sacrifice those placement points.
I think it is a specific situation, but I also think it's a specific situation that could actually happen, right? With how well those top 2 teams are playing, it could happen, Zeke.
That's right. Our players are taking the stage once again. They are preparing themselves mentally. But this is not the only competition that has been going on this weekend. There's another one happening on the Fortnite Battle Stage!
So we're here, Fortnite Festival Battle Stage Dallas. So here's how it's gonna work. We're gonna have each individual on a band. They're all gonna compete amongst themselves. The top player at the end of a battle stage competition will advance to the next round. And the next round is gonna be the finals for Battle Stage Dallas. At the end of Battle Stage Dallas, we will crown the best Fortnite Festival Battle Stage champion.
So this is arguably like the largest prize pool in like guitar game history, and the fact that Fortnite Festival Battle Stage Champions is happening at all is like, it's incredible.
This is the most calm, the most zen I've ever felt going into a tournament. Won 3 national championships in the old days. Looking forward to maybe adding another.
All right, guys, welcome to round 1 of Fortnite Battle Stage Dallas. May the best rocker win.
Tells you right out. I'm gonna win the whole thing.
how I pulled it out at the end by just a couple thousand points. I'm barely shaking now still. I'm still shaking. I'm sweaty. That was very nerve-wracking, but I'm glad that we were able to get it done. All right, guys, welcome to round 3 of Fortnite Festival Battle Stage Dallas. Nerves being up here is just insane. Like, you are not prepared until you get up here. Battle stage is completely different from main stage. Like, it's truly competition at its finest.
Hey, this is my first time playing in an official tournament in over a decade. Feels pretty good. Let's be honest here. So let's go!
Welcome to the finals of Fortnite Festival Battle Stage Dallas. And for the winner, we've got a little something special.
Where's my D-pad? I dropped activating!
Congratulations, Moose, for winning, and congratulations to the Rift Raiders.
I did it for him. He couldn't be here with us today, but I was here. He was here with us in spirit, and I did it for him. For the best friend, yes, I don't even know how to feel yet. I don't know. It doesn't even feel real at this point. But it is real because I'm holding the golden guitar. So that's very cool. I could be more happy with how I played.
I hope we see more competitive events like this in the future. Because, man, so many people getting into great music, so many people getting into competition. That's what it's about. Love it.
Well, next time, I'm definitely bringing it home. Moose better watch over his box.
Shout outs there. Fortnite Festival Battle Stage Champion. That's what I'm gonna be doing after this. I know this has been super fun. I'm just gonna go. I'm terrified at that. Let's just. Anyway. Here we are though, back once again. We are almost ready to jump back into the action as we kind of talked about. Only 3 games left to go, and then we are looking to crown global champions. Kelly.
It's finally happening. I mean, since 2023, where we saw Cooper and Miro raise their trophy, I've been waiting for this moment, and to see these two teams so close in reach of that title of the FNCS Global Champion, I cannot wait to get into this next game.
I'm so happy it's close. I'm so happy it's so close. As a neutral, if you're watching and you don't have a team that you're following, I think it's so good that things are so neck and neck going into these last 3 games. And of course, with that 1.5x points multiplier, anything can change so quickly. So even the likes of Vico and Flixie, if Peterbot and Poyo, Thomas and Queasy don't have a very good end to the day, Vico and Flixie could be your FNCS Global Champions for this year. So it's still all to play for, and it's going to be electric, Zeke. This is really where, this is the business end of the competition, we call it.
I know, we just cannot discredit this Victory Royale. 100 points. Yeah. I mean, right? A single duo could find themselves a Victory Royale, and then everything changes. This leaderboard shakes up. We could see Peterbot and Poyo have a slip-up like they've had, right? The same thing for Thomas AG. Any of these teams could. Now, we don't want that, but it could happen with 3 games remaining.
Yeah, and I love the way that these end games have been going. We've had wins from the high ground. We've had wins from the low ground. We've had solo competitions. We've had 2v2v2s. It has just been an all-encompassing experience of what Fortnite has to offer.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of everything, haven't we? Solo clutches went crazy. Of course, there's that one game today where we had like 5 or 6 solos just in the game alone. So yeah, we've kind of had a little taste of everything. Now this is where things get really serious. I expect to see a little bit of change of strategy from some of our teams that maybe aren't doing so great. Some of the teams at the top, I think I'm expecting more nerves from, because this is really where it's make or break.
I think this is also where we're going to see a lot of issues with Storm Surge. A lot of players playing as safe as they can possibly be because they don't want to get eliminated. Regardless of going for those eliminations, they want those placement points. So I think that it's going to be a bit of a struggle for a lot of the teams that don't have kind of those off-spawn fights or other duos near them. They're going to have to make some big rotations to get those tags, or at least have some strategy in their back pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious to start diving into what has changed, right? These players have had this time to kind of just wash away. Those first 9 games don't matter. We just have to show up for the next 3. These next 3 games will define our legacy, the legacy we leave here at the FNCS Global Championship. It is time. This is game number 10. Let's load right back on that battle bus with MDF and the best taco.
Thank you guys so much. And yes, MDF, we have officially crossed the halfway point. Match number 10 is in sight. And what's even more crazy to even consider currently was that performance out of Peterbot to close things off, because so many of these teams, they just had to sit and ice out for 20 minutes watching that. But we're ready to see what match 10 has in store for us. And like I'd already mentioned, MDF, everyone witnessing Peterbot's pop-off to conclude match number 9, then you go with your duo, you sit and you wait, think, talk, but what do you do realistically when you are dealing with the Thanos of the lobby?
Yeah, I mean, hey, they said it, we didn't, right? This is the truth of the matter, is that everyone looks up to this team as clearly the most powerful in the lobby, but now that we are in the back half, I mean, that short break does allow for other teams to try to sit down and formulate a strategy. 30 minutes between a game where you get to look into the VOD, look into the replay client, right? Feel out what exactly is going on around you is a huge, huge opportunity. I mean, even now, we're seeing people like Acorn potentially find fights there in the feed, but Huddy and Kovacs need to just escape this duo, quite honestly.
Seems like Sky beat Huddy and Kovacs to the punch. He's actually got a Gatekeeper shotgun, which is going to fare him significantly better, you would think at least, but Huddy actually going to find the first assault. Sky has been knocked. It's exclusively down to Scroll now to try and stay alive, but he's not going to be able to make it work. Huddy and Kovacs, once again, fully in control and commanding Rebel's Roost.
Very nicely done for them now, as we are just jumping into things here. Peterbot, Boyo looking pretty good now. What's happening though? There's action happening here at the raft. They don't want nothing to do with it as they're shying away. Swizzy and Japko get a little bit of loot and just back off as fast as possible. You know, it is pretty interesting to think about a 40-point gap that was once at the start of the event closed and then all of a sudden sprung right back into the action come the back half. So really showing you that when Peterbot and Pollo win a game, it's usually explosive.
And the other thing that's important to note, though, is over at the raft, sure, we're seeing quick departures from Swizzy and Yapko, but their intent for 2 days in a row now has been exclusively get what they can and then immediately start to head towards the weapons bunker. That's been their big play, is trying to establish their surge damage around the underworld, around Grim Gate, but for Clix and Veno, it's another beast entirely. They're dealing with Damo and Resigns. Resigns, though, not going to be able to work his way out of this one, but Clix could pay the price instead. Cuts off into the corner. Damo left to fend for himself here, but Clix is incredibly low. Veno has been knocked, and it's going to be Oshi coming out on top. A massive upset for Clix and Veno. They were inside of our top 10, but with that confidence secure by Damo, this is a real opportunity because this is the fastest conclusion we've seen yet.
Yeah, and you know, you saw what happened there. They didn't have material to work with. Things ended so fast, and not being able to secure the elimination itself is also just small points lost here. Jumping in with Chicho and Trulix, finding body tags. The Monarch pistol obviously hitting in the range of that 60 plus, but Kanata and Cooper, this is the earliest we've seen them go head to head up against Alex and Worthy, forcing them out of the drop. That was just one of the two, though. Malibuka and Mustache not happy with Kanata and Cooper taking their pickings here. This is almost a throwback to the Invitational, and Kanata had beef at the racetrack up against Malibuka and Mustache.
Malibuka, Thomas HD at the time, but things have shifted because Kanata and Cooper finding that singular elimination now puts them in a power position here at Restored Reels. They have a very real opportunity as well to try and see if they can look for not just the solo, but also taking advantage of the other half section, because keep in mind, Restored Real is usually getting split between only 2 duos, but since Alex and Worthy got cut off so soon, that's going to be even better opportunity still, because Kanata and Cooper know that that POI has not been fully looted.
Well, matches 9 and 10 have been very interesting, since we can see that the zone is going to remain down south once again, and Peterbot and Pollo saw Clix and Vino get eliminated, and they wasted no time to rush in and secure these eliminations up against Resigns and Damo. Damo seems to have escaped outside of the Sandy Steps, but it makes sense, right? They would come in and just finish the job.
But Peterbot and Pollo also knew that if Clix and Veno aren't there, they have zero fear of Oshi, and they've been very open about that. Chap and Teeny, on the other hand, they've also joined the fray here at Restored Rio's Malabuka Mustache. They've got 1 elimination as well. Teeny and Chap find themselves boxed in the center. They're trying to see if they can escape, but they're both going to pressure onto Malabuka's walls. Malabuka hasn't had his shield fully cracked just yet, but he's definitely low enough. Same could be said, though, for Chap and Teeny. Armored Wall going to cut off that aggressive path from Mustache, and they'll have a moment to regenerate their shields.
Chap and Teeny have fallen down to 12th here, but still are very much in the running here. Let's not forget 1.5x points to be earned, so every game having that much more significance on the standing. Look at Teeny slide up behind Malabuka and find an elimination right there. Very nicely done. And in quick fashion there, picks up the loot. He desperately needed that. He's only got 200 material even now. Chap on the other side, though, getting tagged off in the distance. Teeny looking to finish off Giras and Shari, who seems to have rotated north from the south after seeing Clix and Vino go down. They're like, oh, okay, there's no one in third party. Let's go the opposite way. Everyone's adjusting.
And I think that adjustment was so unexpected for Malabuka and Mustache. Malabuka was trying to stay hidden because he recognized the fact that there was Giras and Shari on the other side. But again, Teeny, Chap, wasting absolutely no time, just caught in the center of the action.
I just want to say how interesting that Peterbot and Pollo see Clix and Vino fall and they push in. Giras and Shari see it and like, let's get out. Very different philosophy, very different strategies at play there, but nonetheless, we progress here onto Bryson Bolts now, who have a little bit of this high ground spot here. Bryson Bolts continue to kind of remain inside this top 10 conversation. However, still shy of a Victor Royale to really propel them up to the top.
For sure, but for Baka and Pars, this is a site that they haven't had a chance to really take too much advantage of in a while. Their drop by the ship-it station usually leaves them in contention to be able to look at a forecast tower or two, but because of the action that's been taking place between Vico, Flixie, Peterbot, Pollo, all these other duos trying to establish their dominance over these forecast towers, it's been difficult for Pars and Baka to work their way into that conversation. But again, this is also partially Domino's effect because Peterbot and Pollo rotated so early on to push Damo and Resigns off of the Clix Veno eliminations that now it's left an opening for Baka and Pars to set up home base around the forecast tower that would typically be contested by Peterbot and Pollo.
Rise and Agers looking to see it. They can get a couple tags on the team rotating nearby. Well, inside the top 10 here. We can start shifting our conversations a bit towards the prizing as well. Let's not forget how significant it will be as you start breaking into top 10. The differences and what you earn up towards top 5. That's what players are going to start having to worry about as well, given the performances. Even if first place is not in the question, you want to be up as high as possible.
And that's also an interesting dynamic to consider because some of these teams that are outside of that top 25 in the leaderboard, this might just be a prime opportunity for them to be as reckless as they want because realistically, 6 points per elimination, if they're able to stack 3, 4, possibly even 5, it's never going to be easy, especially not at the caliber of a global stage lobby. But when you know that everybody gets money and when you see such distinct gaps between the prize pooling just for 1 or 2 point placements higher, it's definitely worth trying to key after.
Yeah, Vika and Flixie thinking about keying Shadow and Virgo on that note. Shadow and Virgo very much aware that this bunker's going to open here. Now looking to back off. Seems like they've sort of met their match. We had time to catch up with Vico's parent, and they said they expect Vico to get much more eliminations today. That is what is the hopes. And look, he has done just that. He is in 3rd place right now. Vico and Flixie absolutely have proven to the world that they are a scary team and someone to be respected.
Just seeing the way that Vico's mom is so invested, though. I mean, granted, I would imagine that any parent would be, but it's just the emotional display. I can only imagine what it's like, because even for us watching, the anxiety is bound to hit. Nerves definitely starting to build here, but the shots have to stay clean as ever for all of these players involved, because you might not have as many opportunities as you would hope for, and Spinks managing to connect some very optimal shots with that striker burst assault rifle. He's definitely under a little bit of duress himself on the top of his surge base.
Haven't seen much of the early game from Dukes or Spinks, but they are creeping their way up the standings. Just a silent team at the moment. On the other side, Booga and Aviv looking to make some noise here at the Reckless Railways. I was just going to say, but you gotta be careful, because here comes Flixie and Vico coming back to home territory. First tag's going to come out onto Aviv by Flixie from the low ground. A great peek, and Aviv's going to respect the damage coming in from Vico now and back off.
But both of these teams need to be wary of the fact that they don't want to get caught outside of the zone for a little bit too long. Teams inside of the zone already managing to build up more primary positioning, and when you're trying to break through some of these surge bases that are in more of that central map position, it can be very difficult to work around and still retain as many resources. All of these splashes, a little bit of Flowberry Fizz that Vico has left over, it seems right now he can definitely buy himself more time than what Booga and Aviv had to offer, but because of that factor, Booga, Aviv, they're not really interested in the fight.
One thing to note too, the bunker, not really talked about how much ammunition it serves out to the players that secure it. You saw there, Vico and Flixie had 300 ammunition apiece, where you start jumping into other teams who are quite literally dwindling down on resources so soon, they'll start to run out.
It's a big part of the reason why Kovacs seemingly wants to see if he can find another refresh if possible, but again, teams next to the Nitrodrome fully aware of the fact that these last little bits of metal are probably going to have to be the hard mats that carry them through the rest of this mid-game. Some nice connections though. Rapid, that is a big knock.
A huge knock there. Look at this, we jump back in and Flixie's actually down. What went wrong? And now it's up to Vico to try to play this one out. We saw Flixie lurking, trying to get a weird angle onto Aviv and Booga, and they might have actually caught him off guard.
Aviv and Booga may have even falsely alluded to Vico and Flixie as if they were, trying to just escape, but in actuality, they were really just setting the trap all along. Flixie was playing rather separate in the first place, and yeah, here, you can already tell, shields cracked, low and exposed, and too easy for the big cheese to take care of.
Aviv and Booga on the move now. No one in sight here as they get a nice clean rotate down the river's edge here. This is match number 10. The back half of the tournament is very much underway here. Aviv and Booga have a long way to go if they want to break into that top 10, but they are knocking on the door now. As several eliminations and a good placed game here will put them inside the conversation. And this is after having such a struggle day one, right? Completely, almost unheard of for Booga and Aviv, but this day two performance is one to be impressed with. Meanwhile, Huddy and Kovacs from one bad game the previous round, seems like they're carrying that bad vibe into this one here as well. It's not looking good.
From the frying pan straight into the fire is what it feels like currently for Huddy, but he's hoping he can continue to try and make his escape. Chap, though, intent on looking for the confirmation of this next elimination. He wants the points, but more importantly still, he wants the siphon of those materials. Well, all the little goodies that Huddy might still have to offer with his loadout as well. Keep in mind the splashes and the ammunition can go a long way for some of these teams that don't have those weapon bunkers like you already called.
Vico has now brought back Flixie with the reboot van. The most important part about losing your teammate, I think, is the time lost, right? And the resources handed over to the opponent to, of course, secure it. Sure, you'll have time to kind of get back into the swing of things, but you are very behind on time now, which obviously is so valuable, and you do not get back.
Well, I think what's even crazier still is the fact that they were still a couple hundred damage above the threshold. Despite this setback, they are still in an okay position to try and crawl their way out of the hole that Aviv and Bugha essentially placed them into. But top of Rift Island definitely starting to heat up here. Muzz, Epic Whale, after some very essential material. They have 0 metal though, and that could be a massive detriment as the mid to late game transition begins to unfold, because they're gonna have to play exclusively off of brick walls if they enter any engagements at the top of Rift Island here.
Still very, very difficult spot to be in for Huddy here. They have the damage, not much more than that. That's really the truth of it. Look at how many teams have also began to kind of house up here on the Rift Island. You have the likes of Muzz and Epic Whale, amongst others. Huddy here just trying to figure out what he can scrap together. Material is extremely low here. Even now, he's playing with fire here as he's trying to inch his way into the structure above, getting ever so closer to visuals and company. But on the other side, Peterbot and Pollo making a move here from the outside of the zone now, and they are not looking too hot down at the Red Vine rig.
This could actually be a big spot of trouble here if Peterbot and Pollo aren't careful. They had teams on both sides of them as they continue to try and work their way into Brawler's Battleground. Just look at the amount of materials they've had to expend already, and they're still sitting just outside the edge of zone. All the while, Vico, Flixie, they have cracked into the edge, but now they got to try and break past Reason and the deal.
This is a fight they've seen before. No strangers to one another on the European region. However, there's still Michael and Jom also firing in on this fight, so it's not just a clean 2v2. Vico and Flixie, though, have a lot to worry about. They need damage, but more importantly, they need this refresh. Jom steps in and just gets crushed for a moment there, but Flixie damaged as well. Vico doubles down on the armored walls and actually finds the elimination. Meanwhile, Pollo and Peterbot are fighting their way in as well. And this time it's up against Cold and Acorn.
Cold and Acorn have been struggling today as far as their surge has been concerned, and big part of the reason why they don't have that direct contest that they were able to depend on in day number 1 up against the likes of Andalix and Sato. So taking this exchange with Peterbot and Pollo, it's only going to hinder both teams at this stage, because Baka and Pars, they're starting to put their heads into the mix, and Resigns, a lone soldier, he's not going to be able to make it out.
Huge pickup for Epic Whale, though. He's actually going to be the one to get the last tag from the Rift Island down onto Resigns there. Meanwhile, you would have thought it was Damo who was closer by, but no, it's Agers in the storm, looking like a solo as well. What is happening here? This is going to give a sense of security to Pollo and Peterbot when the scan comes out and they see Agers potentially there in the distance.
Yeah, they're also going to recognize the fact that he's a...
They're going to think he's a solo, but he's not.
Agers is just far enough away from Rise, though, that Pollo and Peterbot, you saw the confidence in that movement. They were full sprinting. They're not trying to hide anything about their intention. And Agers instantly recognizing the danger in sight. It's going to fall back immediately. And now Pollo, Peterbot, they see his duo in the distance, and they're going to opt to fall back. Agers and Rise will live to see another day.
Definitely a close one. Pollo and Peterbot were moving so fast as well. And, you know, for good measure, they need more damage. They are not quite there just yet. Kiros and Shari going to be the next ones up for Pickens here. But nothing is going to connect. getting close now to the top 25. Take a look at the highlights. You blinked, you missed it. Baka and Pars get deleted by the young Cold. Very nicely done. He's starting to heat up, it seems now. In the back half, that short break probably much needed.
That last elimination, though, that Flixie and Vico picked up off screen is carrying their surge damage threshold currently, sitting just barely above at 113 over. But Vico, Flixie, more importantly still, they need to find another loot refresh if possible. They're going to have to create the situation themselves. Meanwhile, Peterbot Pollo, this could be exactly everything they were looking for. Ed and Persa have fallen, and a big refresh of materials has finally headed their way.
That was actually so fast too, right? One of the fastest eliminations they picked up, but look, no heals were given out. You would think you catch two teams or a set of duos here on the outside, catch the quick elimination, and you'd be fully refreshed, but they are still in a very bad situation as far as heals are concerned.
Yeah, but it's all from rags to riches when you're looking at Thomas HD and Queasy's loadouts in comparison to Pollo and Peterbot. They are in tatters at this phase. And now, taking the flaming boost tube, they're gonna try to catapult themselves. It's helping them cover some distance, but at the same time, they're just still so far behind everyone else, very likely to get held the moment that they surface.
They go sneaking their way out from the edge here. All eyes on Peterbot and Pollo right now, as this is, again, one of those very dangerous situations they found themselves in where Pollo doesn't have much HP. Peterbot holding on with just a single strong foot. Let's see it though. They find a little weak ramp here, try to double out onto Jonathan Pixis. But nothing comes out. Pixie manages to level up just a little bit more there. And the hunt continues.
Peterbot and Pollo, though, they're going to send out their next scan off that reveal medallion. It's Siyun and Kadu. But Siyun and Kadu, they might even be caught in a different exchange of their own. I believe that they're applying some pressure onto Epicwell and Muzz, who are sitting on the low ground just underneath them. Chiefs as well, so incredibly hurt, but Peterbot, Pollo, they are just praying for any sort of refresh, but nobody is coming near them. Keep in mind that reveal medallion also marking their position on the map. People know Peterbot and Pollo are on the approach.
Yeah, Kato is trying his best to see if he can swing around this dead side for the rotate, but Peterbot and Pollo not having anything to do with it. In fact, finding more tags now onto Kato. They're going to recognize we just shield cracked here, push in, take the wall. They didn't have heavy material before, so what did they have to work with? Armored wall comes out. Give them a little bit of room, but different duos now looking to collapse in. Luckily, the tag was onto Peterbot and not his teammate. Otherwise, it will be Rats here. Great Monarch tags, but they are literally operating on fumes right now.
Peterbot is down to his final 4 builds.
Wow.
Make that 3. He's still got 6 armored walls, though, but he'll have to be so meticulous with how he actually places them. But
needed
just
that.
in time, Chris has been found.
It's not much. It's not much, but it's something. And down they go in 17th place. They just couldn't get a footing. Look at who it is. Vico on the other side here. Falls and takes the damage too. Out goes some of the immediate threat. And things begin to open up for Cammy and Seti. Once again on the high ground. Queasy and Thomas also who are just on a day 2 performance of their careers right now.
The opportunity has arisen, though. Thomas HD and Queasy know if they can just close this one out in any sort of fashion, like some of the successful matches they've had earlier here today, that could be all the difference necessary. Only 54 points currently separates first and second place. Spinks from the low ground, trying to take some chops up onto height. Success as well. Seti and Cammy will be forced to try and pave their way forward. Still looking to maintain a front side position of this next zone, but Duke, Spinks right behind them, threatening. They're gonna have to push forward as well, though. It's only a matter of time before the two have to clash.
Spinks and Dukes have turned their focus to high ground here. They want to be up on that podium before the weekend's over, and there's just 3 games to do it. Here we are in the final moments, top 15 now. Things are starting to heat up here for Thomas HD and Queasy. Material running low. They have to find the refresh here. Desperation will start to kick in. They saw the shield crack. Sidewall goes in. They're fully committed. Armored walls. It's all or nothing. And Thomas HD gets trapped and put down. Back to the lobby he goes, but we've seen Queasy be here before. He will have to figure out how to clutch up for the team now.
At least for a moment, he's gonna opt to play his final med kit. It'll buy him a little bit of time. He's hoping that it'll buy him even a placement or two, but now pushing in late from the backside of zone, hoping that he can drop in overhead, sees bodies, here's the shots connecting all around. Prism is gonna get knocked. That's the refresh he needed, but the splashes, Queasy can't use them in time. He gets the elimination, but at what cost?
And it wasn't enough to overthrow the gap between him and Peterbot and Pollo. The small chance that he had, the crack in the window that was open, he could not fit through. And it remains as close as ever as we are bending into game 11 and 12 of the tournament. This is Bryce's and Bolt's chance to secure a victory. This is Sphinx and Duke's chance to secure a victory. Or can Cammy and Seti pull a trick out of the hat at this point and come back with another win today?
Seti is already out. Cammy may have been right next to him. Swizzy and Yapko, on the other hand, they're looking to be the ones to try and overtake the low ground. They've created so much space, but working through these pre-existing builds and even the buildings themselves here at Brawler's Battleground is posing so much of an issue because Bryce Bolt's in the mid-ground. Pixie as a solo, he's gonna opt for the medkit play as well. Teams falling left and right, and the solos left behind, just hoping that the duos clash into each other.
Japko and Swizzy, very solid team, doing what they need to. Beautiful tag out to Gyros, puts him down quickly. Teammate falls behind it, and then Japko delivered Pixie right afterwards, and they jump their way up to 8 eliminations in the top 3 now. Bolts is weak, but Bryce is healthy. Sphinx and Dukes waiting their time out from the high ground, listening to what's happening down low. The medallion's in full effect, so they have all the information needed, and they're cutting them off. What an angle from Bryce here to find 1, now 2 on the low ground. Down comes Sphinx and Dukes. The call has been made. They're looking to close this game out, and they're a very weakened duo down here.
Duke's feeling good about this one, though. He knows that these players have got to be low. Final 3 builds remain. Sphinx right up above to back him up, but it's only going to take one last shot. Dukes waiting to see which hole Bolts tries to scramble out from under. Armored walls to surround himself for the time being.
That's so smart. He's got something to heal with. He actually is trying to survive it, but Sphinx was also ready on the high ground, and he has an extra med kit. It's going to be so close here as Sphinx has run out of heals, and Bolts has 1 in 3, 2, 1. It is over, and Bolts wins the game via armored walls and medkit.
Just one of the best IGLs in the game. I'm one of the best fraggers, and put that together, we're one of the best players ever.
I mean, Bryce, we hear that from their Bolts. It was an incredible way to round things up here. Obviously, you guys want to get as far up the leaderboard as possible now. Walk us through this competition thus far. How has it been for you both as a duo?
It's been pretty. Like, we're the best duo, so it's nothing like different than NA East, pretty much, or NA Central.
And I got to ask as well, we heard it from these guys, Fort Worth. I mean, Fort Worth, let them hear you one more time! You've got the crowd on your side too here. That must give you a lot of wind in your wings as well.
Yeah, a lot of adrenaline running. I'm really nervous, but I'm also excited.
All right. You heard it there. Bryce and Bolts, one more time, give it up for your winners! Whew. Lots more coming our way here. Bryce and Bolts, they're securing the victory, but we've got 2 more games left to play here. What's going to happen next? You have a front row seat. Do not go anywhere. This crowd already, we know you guys are too. We'll see for plenty more right after this break.